After lying dormant for the evening following a very exciting start to the 2022 Road to Indy season, the track here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg coming back alive. Everybody working their way here into the paddock area, things getting fired up for what will be an early morning session as we have the back end of the doubleheader for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires getting set to go. 16 drivers, 15 actually now with the retirement of Christian Brooks for the weekend. Getting set to go for what should be a pretty exciting event. Rob Howden here with us today, folks, and again, looking forward to getting rolling. Rob Howden alongside Steve Wittick from TSOladder.com and Trackside Online as we look for what should be a good race. Steve, let's bring you in here right now. We saw some pretty good action yesterday. What I'd hoped for, especially in Indy Pro 2000, green to checker and a lot of great racing. We're back live here now. Good start to the season when you can go green to checker and get everything done, kind of show the the players that we're going to see in 2022. I thought it was a great start.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you expect more from the Indy Pro 2000 presented by Cooper Tire drivers. These guys this isn't their first time usually on a street course, but few were. But these guys are getting one step closer to being a professional race car driver, so you expect them to be a little cleaner, but again, they're race car drivers. It's the first race of the season. Everybody wants to win, but no, I thought it was fantastic racing, and nobody destroyed their season in the race yesterday.
That's
How's that?
it, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of balance expectations, as Steven said. A little different for USF 2000. So many of the drivers, rookies in the field, they could make a mistake here. For Indy Pro 2000, majority of the drivers, of course, have been here before. They may have gone through a couple of years of USF 2000. So running a race here, that first run down into turn number one, not a complete unknown for them. I thought, though, if we look back, we'll preview today's race, but let's kind of report on it first from yesterday. I thought it was a fantastic start for Josh Green, a rookie in the Indy Pro 2000 after a couple years in USF. He's with Turn 3 Motorsports, who he was with last year. What a great start for him, starting from pole. You think about the pressure on him, but able to get a good jump and even a wide arc. 2-second lead at the end of the opening lap.
Yeah, his first lap was very impressive. He got rolling starts are fairly still new to him, and sometimes we see that even in the NTT IndyCar Series where the rookies who haven't done a ton of rolling starts just don't quite know when to punch off.
That's it, right? And a great battle between Josh Green, as I said, a freshman here in Indy Pro 2000, and Steve, a driver going against Anam Ahmed from Hunko's Hollinger Racing with a lot of experience. We're talking ex-British Formula 3 champion, yep. FIA Formula 3 driver. Green coming out with the win. I think Anam Ahmed putting a stamp on the series that he's going to be here to fight for the championship, outgunning his teammate Reese Gold.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if he wasn't in the championship conversation as the entire series goes along. He's had a ton of experience in Macau. Street courses aren't new to him. I expect him to be, honestly, he's probably in Indy Pro 2000 presented by Cooper Tires. He could be in Indy Lights. He's that kind of talent.
He's that good.
He's that good, yeah. No, and he's one of those guys that he's one that I've been watching for a long time and one that I kind of always wanted to come over here to see how he would do. And it was, when Carlin was running here, they ran him quite a bit in Europe, and Trevor always spoke very highly of him and what kind of a talent he is, and he's showing that. But like you said, Josh Green's won 2 in a row now. Won the last race of the year in USF 2000 last year, and now the first one in Indy Pro. Fantastic way for him to get the season going.
I was just going to say, you talk to these guys all the time, and you think about how important it is to have that confidence. Coming out of the gate as a rookie driver, being able to, number one, put the car on the pole, and then be able to turn around and get the race win. This is huge for a driver like Josh to start the season off well and to get that momentum moving into the program.
Yeah, it really is. And Josh he's always been very consistent. He's not a driver that makes a ton of mistakes on track. The pace has always been really good, but it never come to that next level. But I think working with Peter Dempsey, with a driver coach and an engineer and a team owner like Peter, has really made him step up his game and his mental game in the race. And he just comes across a little bit more competitive than he did his first year in USF 2000.
Maybe a little more fired.
I think,
right?
For sure. Yeah, definitely. The pace was always there. Like it was, you could see it was there.
Yep.
It just needed to be, settle for a 6th place when he had a 3rd place car.
Agreed, yeah, and that's maybe the little bit of maturity there to a certain extent.
True.
To be able to bring it home. Consistency is what Josh Green has a lot of. You mentioned a bit of the experience that Anam Ahmed has, having run races like Macau, a very tight street course. A driver who had never been on a street course ends up finishing up the podium for Exclusive Autosport, and that's Louis Foster, having him come over from England, actually living in Los Angeles, going to school out west. I was really impressed that the steadiness of he's had all weekend on this, what is a very challenging street circuit.
Yeah, I was very impressed with. I expected him to contend for wins maybe later in the season on a traditional road course, something more he's used to. But he came out of the gate and has been very strong. Racecraft really well. Didn't look like he made many mistakes yesterday at all. In fact, was starting to put pressure on the guys up front as the race rolled on. So it was an impressive weekend, or impressive start for him. Another guy that I think we have to put in championship talks.
I do. I agree that he's going to get more and more comfortable as he's here. Again, those of you tuning in here for Road to Indy TV, great to have you with us around the country and, of course, around the world. We know so many of the following from whether it's New Zealand, down in Brazil, over in the UK and Europe. Great to have you with us. 7:55, I believe, is our Start Your Engines time, so we'll get rolling. Green flag around 8 o'clock today. Let's have a look at today's race, because one of the things that happened yesterday or over the weekend, with just the one single qualifying session, your fastest lap in qualifying set the grid for race number 1. Your second fastest lap set the grid for race number 2, but you could improve it based on a fast lap in race 2. We saw a number of drivers come in to put fresh rubber on who were further back in the pack, but the driver actually stepped things up was Nolan Siegel for D-Force Racing. I thought it was so impressive. He laid down a monster lap late in the run to move from where he is to P1 on the used Cooper tires. Right?
He wasn't one of those guys that came in and changed tires.
What do you think about Nolan Siegel starting up front? This kid's been in the program for a while. We've watched him mature. I think him starting from pole could be another winner.
Right, and you kind of look at someone like Josh Green, and then you look at Nolan Siegel. I think pace-wise is probably similar, but Josh has had that consistency his entire career. Nolan has needed to work on that. And second half of last season, you saw that really starting to come on, and the last 3 or 4 events, he started to string together a bunch of top 5s and then had that win at New Jersey. And I think he's ready to take that next step. He's still young. He's 17.
That's it, right?
These kids are so young. I remember what I was doing when I was 17.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you can't overestimate what it means to win a race. The driver's finally in that USF 2000. It was his 3rd year in USF 2000 for Nolan Siegel. He gets the win. Also a bunch of experience in sports car racing, too. He's been doing a lot of racing, ran the Rolex 24, which I think any kind of different experience like that's big for a driver like Nolan.
Yeah, and he had a good Rolex 24. He's running the LMP3 category, which it translates to what we're doing on the open wheel side. It's not exactly the same, but his previous sports car was in GT, and the seat time's always good, but it's better to be in that prototype, that top level, top tier equipment where you feel the downforce, which is what he's doing more this year with the Indy Pro 2000 car.
So what's key with the race we have coming up here right now? Obviously a different jumble up. It's going to be a different approach for Nolan Siegel. He'll start on the pole position, but the drivers that we did see who were strong right up there once again. Louis Foster's going to be in the hunt. I believe he starts P5, something like that. Anam Ahmed right in the fight there as well. Anybody else you want to look at before we cap things off and get ready to head to the grid?
No, I think that I think you'll see Kiko Porto kind of start to move his way forward. Again, new car for him. Probably didn't get as much testing as he wanted. But, we should talk about D-Force. They took a year off of Indy Pro 2000 last year and came right back with the pace they had before. And with not a new car, but it's going to be engineered a little bit differently than the old car.
That's it.
So, a really impressive job by that team to be ready for this season without having run last year.
The new car, of course, is the new tub that we have for the Indy Pro 2000 and USF 2000 cars this year, that middle section of the race car. A little bit more bodywork. We have the halo installed. That was the key. And, again, everybody having to get maybe a little different feel for the data they had from 2021. This is an unbelievably tough racetrack to get around. Yesterday we had Oliver Askew in the guest chair talking about it a little bit. Let's bring you a little closer to the track here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg as Colin Kaminsky from Pabst Racing will walk us through.
Hey guys, it's Colin Kaminsky. We're here in downtown St. Petersburg at Albert Whitted Airport. Here to take you guys through a lap of what it's like to go around in a Road to Indy race car around the streets of St. Petersburg. Heading down into turn 1, you can see the 300 board on your left. You can see the big painted 7. Big challenge here at St. Petersburg is the painted lines. It's very wide. It's very tricky. Try to get hard on the power. Flat left-handed turn 2, the flat left, right-handed turn 3, and heading down all the way into turn 4. Big braking zone here. Seen a lot of overtakes happen on the inside and the outside. It's important to get the car set up to turn 5, where the car likes to transition. You know, drivers are always minding the rear. Then you power up through into turn 8. You got to get real close to the wall on the inside there and real close to the wall on the exit. So that's where all the lap time comes from. And then right into turn 9 there on the right-hand side with the wall. And then this is your next back straightaway. Good opportunity to overtake going down into turn 10, flat through the kink. Hard braking zone, and again, close to the wall on entry and exit. That's what makes the lap time around here in St. Petersburg. Head down into the flat chicane, turn 11 to 12, right past the alternate timing line. Try to get on the brakes as late as you can there and keep it tight through what is known as the hairpin here, turns 13 and 14 that take you onto the front straightaway. Try to keep it tight, try to get on the power as early as you can, because you'll have somebody on your butt chasing you all the way back down into turn 1. And that's a lap around St. Petersburg.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Green, green, green. Great Neves winning the opening round of Indy Pro 2000. Packer racing to win. Green, green, green. Neves is already celebrating. He is the winner. Christian Rasmussen, victorious. So there's Neves looking to the inside of the line. Not enough. Christian Rasmussen with the race win. Here comes Artem Petrov. Artem Petrov, hand in the air. Green, green, green. Go to the bottom of the racetrack. Who gets a better run? Go pedaling. Everyone will win. Tremendous run from Mexico City, the victor in the opening round of Indy Pro 2000, Manuel Suleiman. And Christian Rasmussen wins the second race of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship visit here to Road America. Green, green, green! And Hunter McElroy from Pack Racing, a well-deserved victory. Driver to the wall. We got two drivers to the wall. One north of Petrov. Great Neves with the win over his rival. Great start for Gold. McElroy thinking about trying around the outside. Ladies and gentlemen, his first win in Indy Pro 2000. Reese Gold. What a comeback after being at the wall. Worldwide Technology Raceway. The winner, Artem Petrov.
Green with our first race of the day. The NTT IndyCar Series follows at 9 a.m. with their final practice. It's a 45-minute session to prepare for qualifying later on today. Romain Grosjean was quickest in practice yesterday. 10 a.m. it's Mazda MX-5 Cup racing, and then at 11 it's the GT Americas race number 2. And as mentioned, our program continues at 12:30 a.m. or excuse me, 12:30 p.m. Our final on-track session is the NTT IndyCar Series.
Well, folks, welcome back to live coverage here on the Road to Indy TV of our Indy Pro 2000 category, which will wrap up its doubleheader today. We Started the day off with a pre-show with Steve Wittig from TSOladder.com and Trackside Online, and now, of course, lining up our live coverage with our track announcer and the voice of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Mr. Todd Lewis. Todd, great to have you with us here and great to be with you here in your booth. What a great day yesterday. First and foremost, for those of you who aren't here trackside, another Chamber of Commerce day in terms of weather. Blue skies, sun coming up over the bay. This is such an amazing venue.
I took another photo for an Insta post early this morning. The sunrise is almost exactly the same as it was yesterday. It's perfect. We're expecting sensational weather all weekend long. It's a little warmer today, too. I think it's going to affect the drivers and, of course, the track conditions as well as we get started a little bit earlier today.
Let's have a look at the grid as the drivers get set to go. We'll run through the drivers who are set to roll off here right now. We'll have 15 in total going racing with us today for another 25 lapper here, round number 2 of this year's Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires. This is the Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Driver starting in 15th, an issue coming in to get those tires at the end. You're not allowed to come in with 5 laps to go. So Colin Kaminsky is going to start at the tail of the field. Kaminsky in the number 27, again, using those fresh tires yesterday to try to get some more speed to move up the grid. The Pabst Racing driver Kaminsky out of Homer Glen, Illinois, in the number 27, set to start in the 14th position, or 15th position, rather. And we'll move to road number 7. In 14th is actually Jordan Missig in the number 19. Missig running for Pabst Racing. He'll be on the outside of row 7. Inside is Matt Round-Garrido in the number 92, the driver out of Stourbridge, England, now living in Westfield, Indiana. He is an exclusive Autosports driver. Corpay, Excel Labels, and Indigo Medical, the sponsor on the car for Matt Round-Garrido in the number 92. He'll be starting on the inside of Jordan Missig. We'll go down to row number 6 on the outside in that number 6 machine. The driver to Guadalajara, Mexico for J. Howard Driver Development. That is Salvador de Alba, the rookie in the number 6, starting in 12th. De Alba, sponsored by Grupo Indy, Mecanico, and Sidra Aga. We'll work our way alongside him to Jonathan Brown, a former Formula Ford Festival race winner. Brown, the Irishman, the rookie in the number 2, running for Turn 3 Motorsport Human-Centered Movement, CRPS Awareness is the sponsor on the side of that race car. Brown, his first time over here at the Road to Indy, getting comfortable with this race car, comfortable with the track here at St. Petersburg. We'll see what he's able to do with a full race distance in the books. Into the top 10, 2 young drivers that came into the Road to Indy just 14 years of age. They're both 17 years of age right now. Reese Gold on the outside from Miami, Florida, in that number 55 machine, the Ticket Clinic sponsor for Juncos Hollinger Racing, a race winner last year here in Indy Pro 2000. He's going to try to work his way forward. Tough start for Reese Gold back in the 10th position. Inside of that row, though, in the number 40 out of Carmel, Indiana, for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports, the Patterson Dental Blue Marble Tatis IP22. That is Jack William Miller in the number 40. Up now to row number 4 on the outside in the number 18 out of Delafield, Wisconsin, the ST Motorsports PAP Racing entry. That is Yuvan Sundaramurthy, a winner last year at USF 2000. He'll be a rookie here this season in Indy Pro. Sundaramurthy launching from the outside of row number 4. Inside of that row, a driver who has won a lot of races because he is the reigning Cooper Tires USF 2000 championship. He has the striking red, black, and white Road to Indy scholarship colors. Last year's champion in USF 2000. Kiko Porto out of Brazil, the rookie in the number 1, starting in the 7th position. Cars have fired up. We are now underway. Row number 3 on the outside, yesterday's winner. A deeper start for the guy who started on the pole yesterday, and that is Josh Green out of Mount Kisco, New York, for Turn 3 Motorsports in the Session Guardians Imperium Tatis. He will start back on the outside of row 3. Green with work to do, but he does come in as your point leader. Inside of row number 3, driver who made his street racing debut here yesterday out of England, Louis Foster in the number 90 for Exclusive Autosport, starting in the 5th position. We'll go to row number 2 now. On the outside, Braden Eves, former USF 2000 champion. Eves now running for J. Howard Driver Development at New Albany, Ohio, in that number 4 machine. Again, a lot of sponsorship on the car as well. CCF, Houston Insurance, Addison Holdings. A very quick young driver, Braden Eves, starting P4. While on the inside, driver finished second yesterday, racing under the Pakistan flag, Anam Ahmed, former British Formula 3 champion, FIA F3 racer. Steve Wittig and I talked about him in the pre-show that he is a driver who could challenge for this championship. Second yesterday, he'll start on the inside of row number 2 today, Anam Ahmed in the number 47 for Juncos Hollinger Racing. 15 drivers in the field. We'll put 2 on the front rows. They work their way around the racetrack here to go green this next time by. On the outside of the front row, one of the drivers who came in to put fresh rubber on, leveraging the opportunity to use a faster lap from race 1 to be able to move himself up the order. That is Wyatt Prokachik in the number 5 out of Johnstown, Colorado in the J. Howard Driver Development Machine. Prokachik starting on the outside of the front row, his first front row start in Road to Indy competition. But the driver on the pole position on the used tires yesterday, a late run to a smoking fast lap of 109.590. Nolan Siegel out of Palo Alto, California, running for D-Force Racing, a winner last year at USF 2000. Could be a win here today as he starts on the pole position. Drivers getting set, folks, as they work their way out of turn number 12. The final hairpin here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. It's a beautiful morning here in Florida. It's time to go racing the back end of the doubleheader for Indy Pro 2000. Drivers, those engines, ready to come to life as they work their way out of 12 into the Road to Indy start zone. What kind of a punch-off do we get from the leader? Green, green, green! And a good jump for Siegel. Prokachik will dive right in behind him. So we are underway for a 25-lapper. The first time down into turn number 1. They'll spread 3 wide. Tough to go to the bottom of the racetrack like that. Drivers giving each other some room. Thus far, cleanly through. A lot of respect shown for the drivers here in the second rung of this Road to Indy. Again, a majority of these drivers, Todd, have time on this racetrack because they came through USF 2000. Let's hold our breath as they come down to turn number 4. Again, 3, 4 wide in some of the areas. Drivers being smart. That's the way to get through the first couple of corners here. You got 25 laps to race.
As we've seen in the previous race here with some other series as well, corners 2, 3, and 4 can be a little tricky after you make your way through corner 1. It can catch you out, but everybody doing a nice job in the Indy Pro 2000 series. I'm anxious to see over the 25 laps how the tire strategy plays out. You mentioned the pole sitter, Nolan Siegel, who is on used tires, but
he's actually on fresh tires.
He's on the fresh tires. Wyatt Prokachik is on the used tires, and those that are starting deeper in the field with new tires, how much of an advantage is that going to give them coming through the field?
Yeah, I think that's a key point in this race right now. As I said before, a handful of drivers that were further back in the pack in the race yesterday elected to come in and put those fresh tires on in an attempt to get a faster lap time to move themselves up the order. Wyatt Prokachik was the driver who really leveraged that as Prokachik locking it up coming into the corner. A number of drivers locking it up on the braking zone coming into turn 1 as we got lap number 1 in the books into lap number 2. You're right, though. Siegel he turned that fast lap amazingly on the used tires, the older tires that he qualified on and then raced on. He was able to turn a really good lap. Oh, look at those drivers side by side coming through. That's Kiko Porto and Anam Ahmed. Ahmed able to get through, I believe. Yeah, Anam Ahmed by Porto there as they're kind of going back and forth. But Prokachik's on those used tires. Nolan Siegel on fresh tires, already out to an 0.8 of a second lead in the opening circuit. Great start for Nolan Siegel. And that's why qualifying is so important here at St. Petersburg. Yesterday, this race, Todd went green to checker. You get out front. You're able to manage that gap. You don't have a yellow flag and a restart. Great opportunity to win a race.
Worked perfectly for Josh Green yesterday. Had a nice lead, managed it all the way through. 25 laps today that will go out on track, which will be an interesting one to see. Again, for Wyatt Prokachik, don't get discouraged early, even though it's a 0.7 of a second lead that Nolan Siegel has ahead of him. We've still got 22 laps to go. Again, the tires will begin to equalize in terms of performance later on, and we said yesterday in the race as well, you're not going to bite into a 0.7 of a second lead all at once. It's something that you have to nibble away at lap after lap.
Indeed, and that's what we saw Anam Ahmed do to Josh Green yesterday. He kept pushing and kept pushing. The reason why Green was able to come away with that fantastic victory. Oh, there's a side-by-side battle into turn number 4. That might have been Ahmed to the inside of Foster in 4. Able to get through. Oh, they are side-by-side, but I don't know if that's Foster. I think that may be back to Josh Green. And Green and Foster, what a battle side-by-side coming through as they work their way through now turns 8 and 9. A strong move down to the inside of turn number 9. Let's pick up some of the action, try to give you a little bit of the backstory right now, but let's dive in here because the driver's getting aggressive early. Here's a move again. That's that fight between one of the I believe one of the turn 3 drivers. We got some good racing here now. Yeah, that is Foster, Green, Ahmed, and Porto. Foster able to get by. Another move to the inside of turn 12. But indeed, Louis Foster, the number 90 exclusive auto sports machine, able to slide to the inside of Josh Green. Green started in 6th. He was up to 4th at one point, but Green even P5, pretty strong. We got drivers locking it up, both locking it up. What happened there down into turn number 1?
Looked like two just trying to find the same piece of real estate heading into corner number 1. Just a little bit of a touch in tires, a little bit of smoke, and I wonder if they're getting caught out a little bit by that large marking on the end of the airport runway that's locking up the tires a little bit.
You know, a thing every one of these drivers knows, when you try to go down to the inside of turn number 1, there's no rubber down yet there. It's still pretty dirty. The paint down there makes it even tougher. One driver most definitely damaged further back. You can see him slowing at the tail of the field. We'll try to pick up that driver. There's a wing damage there as well, so someone's lost a wing. So the contact potentially that happened as Todd picked up coming down into turn number 1. I was looking at live timing when we had that issue in turn number 1. So indeed, two drivers making contact down into turn number 1, into the braking zone. We'll try to pick those drivers up as they come through here for you. They're going to be late coming through for sure. We got a full course caution. Yeah, full course. You have to believe some kind of debris on the racetrack for that full course caution to come out. Looks like De Alba involved. Salvador De Alba, one of the drivers from J. Howard Driver Development involved. And also here comes Reese Gold into pit lane as well. Yeah, no front wing for Reese Gold. So a couple drivers getting a little aggressive early here. Only 4 laps in of a scheduled 25 for Indy Pro 2000. Again, maybe we can get a replay of that potentially, what happened coming down into turn number 1. I know that it was on screen. Anytime you look away at live timing, you hope you don't miss anything on the racetrack. And Todd, did you see the whole thing happening?
I just saw the smoke come up, and the two cars touched together. I didn't pick up who it was as they were trying to make their way through corner number 1, and then were around the corner. But there was two cars that touched heading into corner number 1 again. Same thing, looking for the same bit of real estate.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's a right rear flat for De Alba. So you got to figure that Gold got into the back of De Alba. Coming into turn number 1, those drivers were scrapping it out. That moves a number of drivers up. Jordan Missick moves up a spot, as does Matt Round-Garrido and Colin Kaminsky. If you're checking out live timing, you'll see that Christian Brooks did not start the race. Damage in qualifying for Christian Brooks has sidelined him for the entire event. We hope to see Christian back, of course, at Barber Motorsports Park when we get set for rounds 3 and 4 of this year's season. But tough start there.
It's been a bit of a struggle for Reese Gold this weekend as well. Finished 7th in yesterday's first race of the weekend. I know that hopes were high for him coming into this season, making the move to Hunko's Hollinger Racing, expecting success. But again, it's a new team, moved to a new team, so sometimes there's a few growing pains as well. But it's been a struggle this weekend.
He was with them last year as well. But regardless of that, he's got an older teammate. He's trying to battle it up with Anam Ahmed. All right, field set. We're back at it. They were able to clean it up quickly, and we are green flag racing again. No, yellow. Still yellow. Man, they came out, pace car ducked on off, and they went racing. But the yellow staying out. Unsure why yellow remains on the racetrack, but they were waving that pretty vehemently at start-finish as the pace car did duck on off.
I wonder if some of those drivers, the way they accelerated coming out of 14 towards the start-finish line, saw the waving but didn't quite register that it was the yellow flag and not the green flag. And they were, but again, you're trying to anticipate that start to get off as quickly as you can. It's your best opportunity to make up ground, to pick up a position, and maybe improve your lot in the race today as you come to the restarts and heading into corner number 1. But we still got safety vehicles out on track.
I'll tell you who benefited from that one, and that was Reese Gold. Had we gone back to green, he will be well back. Gold's going to be able to catch up to the tail of the field, so he'll be able to find himself with potentially a couple more positions to work his way forward. Here's how the lineup looks right now. Nolan Siegel with that lead. The gap that he was able to pull over the first couple of laps now erased as we get set to go with a restart. Wyatt Prokachik holding on to that second spot. Braden Eves up into third. Louis Foster in 4th, Josh Green 5th, Anam Ahmed in 6th, Kiko Porto 7th, Yuvan Sundaramur the 8th, Jack William Miller 9th, and Jonathan Brown rounding out the top 10. Jordan Missick runs 11th, Matt Round-Garrido in 12th, Colin Kaminsky 13th, Reese Gold 14th, and as we said, Salvador De Alba into the pit lane with damage. They'll go to work trying to get another right rear on that, and hopefully no suspension damage as well for Salvador with that contact. We weren't able to see a replay of the incident that we had in turn number 1, but just based on the damage, the right rear damage for De Alba and the front wing damage for Reese Gold, you can kind of extrapolate probably what happened. Back at it. I believe we're going green this time by D. We're on it. Not the best jump at all. And look at this. Prokachik coming to the inside. Wyatt Prokachik coming to the inside of turn number 1 to see if he can't get by Siegel. His teammate Braden Eves in there as well. A couple drivers further back locking it up as they work their way into turn number 1. And indeed, those were 2 J. Howard driver development drivers trying to pounce on Nolan Siegel. I believe Siegel, though, able to challenge them back out of turn number 3, turn 4, the next one. And indeed, it is still Siegel with the position. And I'll tell you, Louis Foster able to get by either Eves or Prokopchik. Foster's got a spot. Keep an eye out for Louis Foster this season, folks. He is a runner, and as we know, Exclusive Autosport winning the team championship last year. Race wins with both Braden Eves and Artem Petrov. Foster could be a driver we talk about when we get to Portland in the championship fight. Big battle further back outside the top 5 or top 6 coming into turn number 10. Look at this, baby. 3 wide, 2 wide. Not in turn number 10, surely not.
I don't think you want to go through turn 10 2 wide. Definitely not 3 wide, but even 2 wide. But that battle is still going near the back of the field. Everybody looking for position.
You know what that is? That's Reese Gold hungry to try to get back, have some level of recovery. Gold rolling out. Another driver coming into pit lane here. I don't know, we'll pick this up as they come through pit lane to run back down to turn 1. But that is going to be Josh Green. Josh Green, yesterday's winner, into pit lane. Not sure what happened to Josh, but he's into pit lane, and that shakes things up in the championship battle. You see the fight coming through turn 1. Trackside cam here through turn number 2, through the concrete canyon that is the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg layout. Very tough racetrack. We're finding ourselves with some pretty aggressive running early on. Siegel is the leader. Braden Eves was able to get by his teammate Wyatt Prokopchik on the restart, and then Prokopchik losing a further spot as Louis Foster was able to slip by. So it's Siegel as the leader, Eves running in second, Foster third, Prokopchik fourth, and Anam Ahmed working his way back up. He started third, fell back a bit, and has scrapped his way back up to P5. So yesterday's second place runner running in the 5th spot, and as we know, an issue there for Josh Green as he fell down the field as well into pit lane right now. They'll reset when they come around here, but we'll find out where Green locks in.
Interesting moves right at that restart with Braden Eves and Louis Foster. Wyatt Prokopchik wound up falling back just a little bit, but it was an example of a pass being made that started earlier. They were really dancing for position coming through corner 1. They made their way through corner 2 and 3, and then finally managed to get around, and Louis Foster especially moving around Prokopchik to take that 3rd spot.
And that was Prokopchik losing another spot there in turn number 1 as Anam Ahmed making the move to the inside. That was a textbook move. Pull alongside, get to the inside. When you own that apex, you're going to own the exit. And he was able to kind of drive a little bit farther through. Prokopchik wisely, remember, trying to see if he can't salvage himself a strong run on the used tires, and as he had used yesterday to finish off the run. So at least probably 6 laps or 7 laps on those tires for Prokopchik. So trying to see if he can't come out here with a top 5 finish. Kiko Porto will be the next one, trying to reel him in. Porto about a half a second now behind Prokopchik, but that was a move for Ahmed to get up to P4.
Siegel, Eves, Foster, Prokopchik, and Ahmed, the top 5 as we are working lap number 9, coming around through corner number 10 now. One caution briefly, looked like we were going back green 1 lap earlier, but we didn't as the leaders come through the hairpin at turns 13 and 14. It's just a 0.6 of a second lead for Siegel ahead of Braden Eves, who's feeling a little heat from Louis Foster from behind now.
Well, this is the thing that Nolan Siegel wants right now. He would love to have Eves thinking about Louis Foster. Last time by, Eves 0.2 of a second quicker, Siegel 0.2 of a second quicker than Eves, and I believe that's a move. I think Foster just got through, indeed he did. Louis Foster, the Englishman, has worked his way by Braden Eves. He is on the move right now. Foster, defensive line coming down into turn number 4. That's just cementing the pass. You get it done in turn number 1, cement it down in turn number 4. You know you're not going to get overtaken through 6, 7, 8, and 9 as Foster rolls out using all of the racetrack, and that a big run down to turn number 10. This is his opportunity now to pull away a little bit from Eves and then go chasing after Nolan Siegel.
Looking for another podium position. He's in 3rd position right now, finished 3rd in race number 1. A great opportunity to pick up a lot of championship points with things shaking up as much as they have with Josh Green, who's fallen well back.
Yeah, the fact that Josh Green is back down in pit lane still in, I believe, what would be the 14th position, that is massive right now for everybody else in the field because it really restacks the deck. I feel horrible for Josh Green, who just wanted to come in here and get a result to kind of solidify that win from yesterday. But this is an opportunity for a guy like Louis Foster, even if he finishes 2nd, would likely come out of here with a point lead. Foster by Eves last time by, as we said, there's a fight a little bit further back there as well. Look at the scrap side by side. I think that's Gold, Reese Gold going around Colin Kaminsky, I believe. So Gold moving forward and the number 55 Hunko's Hollinger Racing Machine. Otherwise, we're settling in here now, kind of closing in on the midway point. Yeah, there's now. So Brown. So Jonathan Brown in the Turn 3 Motorsports machine was able to get by Kaminsky first, and now it's Gold going by Kaminsky to try to reel in Brown. So Brown running in, I believe, the 10th spot, and Gold now into the 11th as they were able to both get by Colin Kaminsky.
Nice of Reese Gold to take advantage with Brown opening up the door, and he's there to take advantage. That's the other opportunity with the cars running so close together. If someone creates an opening, you've got to be there to follow through it.
And it depends on where the overtake is done, right? If it's a place where the driver on the outside being overtaken really has to get off the throttle to get back around the corner, everybody else able to reel right in. So watch for a battle further back. We're going to watch it come out here as well, as here's Brown, Gold, Kaminsky. Front-running drivers kind of settling in here, but you know that Reese Gold is going to get aggressive soon. Here's Gold looking to the inside, coming into turn number 1. Not quite there, trying to force the error. Reese Gold almost side by side with Brown as they come out of turn number 1. Josh Green back on the racetrack, but 3 laps down, so Green's going to be hoping for some more attrition to potentially able to maybe leapfrog up a couple of spots, as Green now running in that 13th position or 14th spot. Yesterday's winner not able to back up that tremendous debut victory from yesterday. Good fight, as we said, what we're watching right now, and that is, I believe, Brown and Gold going at it. I said it was Kaminsky. They might have got around Matt Garrido, as Kaminsky showing a little further up in the order here. They got Kaminsky right now, I believe, up in the 9th position, so Colin Kaminsky to P9. Yeah, that might be Matt Garrido. Let me make the correction. Yeah, that's Matt Garrido in the Corpay IP22.
Leaders just coming across the line. It is still Siegel, Foster, Eves, Ahmed, and Berkachik are the top 5. The gap from second to first now down to under a second, as Louis Foster has a lap about 0.3 of a second quicker. That's a big change from one lap to the next. I don't know if that'll continue lap after lap, but right in the middle portion of the race now, this is where you want to start closing that gap just a little bit. Give yourself an opportunity for later in the race, as we've seen the road to Indy in a battle further back.
Yeah, that is between Braden Eves and Anam Ahmed. That's coming out of turn number 6 and 7. Ahmed putting a ton of pressure right now on Braden Eves. That would be for P3, as Ahmed starting to work his way forward. And just like Todd said, Foster putting on a monster lap there, a 109.5. Over 0.3 faster than Siegel. He's got the gap to less than within a second. So Foster, most definitely the driver to move right now. Half a second quicker than more than half the field. 0.3 quicker than Siegel. We got ourselves a battle for a race win coming if this trend continues for Louis Foster. In fact, they're pulling a big gap as well, back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Which is Eves, Ahmed, and Berkachik, who's still holding on to a top 5.
Nice work for Berkachik, who lost a couple of positions but seems to have stabilized now. It's a bit of a gap between 5th back to 6th and Kiko Porto. He's got a little bit of breathing room, so he can focus on the cars ahead of him and try to improve his position.
The Pabst Racing drivers stepping up a little bit here now, running in the 7th, 8th, and 9th spots, I believe. Now make that 8th, 9th, and 10th for Sundar Amurthy, Kaminsky, and Missick. Look at this fight, though, coming out of turn number 2 through turn number 3. This is going to be a battle down into turn number 4. We are in the right place at the right time. Good scrap between these two drivers side by side. I believe that might be Gold and Matt Garrido. Then we've got the scrap there as well between Ahmed and Eves. There's a lot of good racing here right now. Drivers coming through turns number 8 out of turn number 9. Man, that is Eves and Ahmed. So again, just halfway through now, 13, 14 laps down as they come across the timing stripe, 14 laps down, and we'll have 11 remaining, 11 laps to go. Siegel, Foster, Eves, Ahmed, and Berkachik, top 5. Porto runs 6, Miller in 7th, Sundar Amurthy 8th, 9th is Kaminsky, 10th is Missick, 11th Brown, 12th Gold, and 13th now Matt Garrido.
as you mentioned at the top too, everybody's had a chance to race here on the streets of St. Petersburg already. So there's a little bit of the known commodity in terms of what you're getting and understanding where the opportunities to creep up on an opponent are, where the best opportunities to pass are. Of course, it's corners 1, corner 4, corner 10, but now you've had the chance to do it once or twice. Now you know how to approach it when you do have the opportunity presented in front of you.
And you know the interesting thing is it's the gap between race 1 and race 2. As a driver, you're able to internalize the experience you just had. You're able to get a feel for it. You know, a guy like Louis Foster, first race ever here, first time ever on a street circuit, you get that feeling. The big thing about this racetrack is the visuals, right? With the walls and the fencing around. Like we call it the concrete canyon for a reason. You feel like you're running down a small canyon. Whereas now he's got the opportunity to sleep on it, to go over the data. He comes back with a totally different experience set for today's race, and that's why Foster's dialing things in. Once again, 0.2 of a second faster. Foster within a half a second of the leader, Nolan Siegel.
And 10 laps to go now, so Louis Foster, with Siegel getting bigger and bigger in front of him, is going to be looking for that opportunity. Maybe it's the next couple of laps, maybe it's a little bit later in the race. You want to set your driver up, and you'll start to see Foster as he gets closer. Move a little bit to the left, move a little bit to the right, get up close, get in the mirrors so that Nolan Siegel is looking behind him more than he's looking in front of him.
And this is the same thing, right? We talked about this before. We talked about it yesterday. It's a tough place to pass. Turn 1, turn 4, turn 10, really the only opportunities to overtake here at St. Petersburg. So you have to force a mistake. You got to make sure that your pressure on the drivers is absolutely relentless. Because that may have been a pass attempt, I think, Gold trying to get around Brown. Because, yeah, there's, driver in the wall. We have a driver in the wall on the outside of turn number 9, I believe. Yeah, indeed, full course caution with 9 laps remaining. One of the drivers that might be out of turn number 9 stuffed it into the wall. We'll try to find out exactly where that is and which driver it may be. Anam Ahmed from P3. Oh, we have seen the guy. Yeah, that's Anam Ahmed in the wall, and I think that's potentially coming out of turn number 9. Or is that? It feels like it's coming out of 9 to me. We'll see it, pick it up for sure. But Ahmed into the wall. And you wonder whether, I don't know that there was any contact from the behind. I don't think that Eves was close enough at that point. Or he might have been battling, he would have been putting the pressure on Braden Eves then. Was there contact between those drivers? Is there any damage to Eves? I do not know.
Did he just get in a little too deep and was unable to make the corner and get through to the outside wall? We'll have to wait and see if we can find a replay of that. But Anam Ahmed, yesterday's runner-up, has contact with the wall. His day is done. What a day it has been from yesterday's podium. Josh Green had problems earlier. Anam Ahmed. Louis Foster, though, continues to reel in Nolan Siegel, looking for that top spot.
Yeah, that gap that Siegel had, obviously now gone. We'll do the reset and see what happens when we get this cleared up. The AMR safety crew out there very quickly to tend to Anam Ahmed, who made the contact through that part of the racetrack. Field will stream themselves through here as well, led by Siegel, Foster, Eves in second, or rather Eves in third. Prokachik now moving up into the 4th spot. Kiko Porto in 5th. Jack William Miller in 6th. Yuvan Sundaramurthy 7th. Kaminsky in 8th. Missig now 9th. Gold moving up to 10th. Roundgrito 11th. And Ahmed, of course, falling down the order. So let's have a look at the replay here. Being told a single car incident for Anam Ahmed, probably pushing as hard as he can. And this is a track that you're running on the edge. Here comes Ahmed through, and literally just, I wonder whether or not he got into the barrier on the inside. The angle of his exit on that corner leads me to believe that he might have just slightly touched the inside of the racetrack. Jack William Miller actually driving over top of the front wing as well, so Miller may have damage. Miller's not going to want to come in. He's running 6th right now, so he's going to hopefully feel that that car is still safe. But again, Ahmed, I just don't like the angle of that, Todd. It seemed the way it's almost like he turned in and either something broke and he wasn't able to have the steering, or he just may have tapped the wall lightly and seen it go through.
But you're right. He was not turning as he came out of corner number 9, that right-hander. He was not turning. He was just kind of sliding through the corner and wound up going straight into the wall with the left front.
Yeah, and you can see that he wasn't even that. It's not like he was trying to make a move on Eves. He wasn't close enough like he was trying to get right up in there. He was at least a car length back at that point for Braden Eves, so it wasn't like Anam was making a move to the inside or it's not a place you could pass anyways. we'll try to have another look at that when we possibly can. Our crew, of course, doing the best they can, and always an awesome job by the production crew here to provide us with the replays that we need to try to tell the story. Surprise for Anam Ahmed. This is the driver who does not make mistakes. So let's have another look here right now. So Anam Ahmed, who we said with the issue, as he's trying to chase. Here they come into the corner. I wonder if the car was just kind of, see, there's a massive bump mid-corner there, and you want to think he kind of maybe came through and the car just kind of pushed forward. Maybe a little too early on the throttle, trying to get back to the throttle early as it hit the bump. Potentially, you can see he went just straight off the racetrack, no chance to turn at all.
That car is definitely unsettled as he ends up the left front into the wall. But you're right, you could see the front of the car kind of go up and down as he enters the right-hander, and that's something that the drivers look for and learn as they do the track walk before they start their on-track sessions, and as they run lap after lap, they'll understand that the approach to the corner, you want to avoid the bumps, you want to get through as smoothly as possible, but Anam Ahmed missed that, and he did hit that bump in this case, and looks like it unsettled the car.
Well, you can see how the car almost porpoised a bit, like in a back and forth. Well, if on the back set he gets on the throttle a little too early and all of a sudden shoots the car forward, he's got wheel in it to try to get the thing to turn. If the wheels, if all that weight comes off the front of the car, that's an issue. And that's one of the things you get taught early in a race car. If you're going through a corner and you're worried about it and you back off the throttle, what happens all of a sudden is it moves all your weight forward when you back off the throttle. It lightens the rear end of the car. In this case, with the front end getting light, if he rolled on the throttle to try to see if he could get a better run out at turn number 9, it pushes that car forward with a lot lighter front end. He's not able to get the bite, not able to get that turn in.
No control, ends up into the wall. That's the end of the day for Anam Ahmed, but causes us for the second time to pack up the field as this full course caution continues. We're getting ready to clean up the action out on the track so we can get going with maybe a 5-lap shootout to the finish of this one.
The driver's slowing further back. I'm not sure what's going on here. One coming out of turn number 12. The driver's actually almost, I want to say potentially coming to a stop in turn number 12. Just no fire. One of the drivers further back. Not quite sure who that is at this point here, but that driver off the racetrack, or on the racetrack rather. Here comes Josh Green back through. The rest of the field working its way through turn number 1, but there is a car essentially coming to a stop on the exit of turn number 12. So we're going to stay yellow here now until they can figure out what's going on with that driver. Not actually sure who that may be at this point, because they would have come by the timing stripe, the alternate timing line, so we don't see it here. And Anam Ahmed is out of the race. Jonathan Brown, Josh Green back on the racetrack, but 3 laps down. Salvador de Alba out early. So being told it might be the car 27 of Colin Kaminsky, who has come to a stop coming out of turn number 12. Tough one for Colin, who was running there in the 8th position. So that's going to move Jordan Missig up to 9th and Reese Gold back into the top 10 as Todd Gold trying to salvage something after the contact with Salvador de Alba early.
Wow, this is, and Josh Green is the beneficiary of Anam Ahmed's out, because he had problems earlier, went a number of laps down, but he has returned to the race. But again, as you said, attrition is going to help him if there's any more of it before the end of this race. We don't want to see it. We want to get back to green flag racing, but it does help Josh Green in this particular case.
So I was saying turn number 9 potentially. I'm being told by Steve Wittick from TSO Ladder has got a better view of it. We don't have there's a screen you can get that has the position of all the drivers. It was actually turn number 4, and we know how fast that corner is. The big run down the corner and coming into the corner there. So it was indeed turn number 4 for Anam Ahmed, and as well Jonathan Brown was into the tires, I believe, in turn number 2. So a lot of action here early on.
And at that speed, heading towards corner number 4, if the car is upset, you are definitely not making it through that corner, and you're going to find the wall on the outside.
And it's a tight corner, too. It's a 100% tight corner. I was surprised to see the car for Anam be so unsettled, but again, rolling through that corner, getting back on the throttle early. We saw him into the wall, Jonathan Brown into the wall. A little bit of attrition in the race here, and a couple of yellow flags. What this is going to eventually set up, folks, as we've got Colin Kaminsky back in. I'm unsure whether or not they're still working on Jonathan Brown, but we're putting lap 19 in the books. We've got 6 laps to go. We're going to have ourselves a bit of a shootout here in the back end of the doubleheader for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship drivers. Again, this is the Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Todd, a great way to essentially break the silence here on a Saturday morning in Florida.
What a way to get things started here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding. This is the first session on track today. We've got lots more action ahead. The NTT IndyCar Series is up next with their final practice. Romain Grosjean was the quickest yesterday. We'll follow it up with Mazda MX-5 Cub, GT America Racing, and the IndyCar Series will qualify. So much happening on the grounds. We can see that the crowds are coming in, and it is going to be another very busy day here in St. Petersburg. Always a great event, great way to kick off the season for the Road to Indy as well as the IndyCar Series.
The only Road to Indy action on the day here today will be Indy Pro 2000. Our USF 2000 drivers will cap off their weekend here in St. Petersburg at 10:45 tomorrow morning. They continue to push the number 27. In fact, Colin Kaminsky's pushing the car himself up pit lane. He wants to get this thing refired. The AMR safety crew just brought him in and essentially dropped him off. That's all they were trying to get him going. The minute they were able to get him into pit lane, Kaminsky on the halo right now and getting pushed back. I think he wants to see if they can't refire. Because to be honest, Kaminsky, if he gets back out there, could finish in front of Josh Green still. There's an opportunity for him to still finish in that 11th spot. He does not want to give that up. So Kaminsky pushing back down. Not sure what the issue was for Colin, but we'll put lap number 20 in the books. It'll be 5 to go when we go back racing, and I believe we are going to go green this time by. It'll be a 5-lap dash. Nolan Siegel going to try to hold off Louis Foster and Braden Eves. The Lions from behind are hungry. Can Nolan Siegel hold him off? He punched the throttle coming out. Nice restart for Nolan Siegel. Foster not close enough to make the run. We are going to get a battle for 4th position, though, as Kiko Porto looking to the inside of Wyatt Prokachik. That's going to be a rundown. Check out turn 1. A little further back, look at the fight for 4th position, and it's Kiko Porto to the inside trying to fight it out here with Prokachik. They're going to go side by side, and he's through. Book it. Kiko Porto going to P4. Yeah, last year's USF 2000 champion, now to P4.
First booklet of the weekend. That was really nice of Kiko Porto, who set that pass up coming out of the hairpin at 14, running down the long front straightaway of 2,300 square feet towards corner 1, and then as Prokachik goes wide a little bit through corner 1, he slides up the inside and has the position for 2 and 3.
And that's it. Own the entry, and Apex own the exit. And indeed now Prokachik under fire from Jack William Miller in the red Miller Vinatieri Motorsports number 40. Yuvan Sundaramurthy and Jordan Missig right there as well. But again, move Kiko Porto up into the 4th spot. Watching the leaders, though. Let's see how this shakes out as Porto trying to close up on Eves. This is a great battle. Braden Eves, a former champion in USF 2000. Kiko Porto, the reigning champion. Top 4 drivers are going to be about a second coming by. They've been a half a second, pardon me. And now we are racing. Lap number 21 goes in the books. 4 laps remaining. It's a 0.3 of a second advantage for Nolan Siegel. Foster closing up on the draft into turn number 1. Foster round, Garrido pulling out and have a look to see if he can't get by Jordan Missig.
You can see that this is the closing laps. Everybody's taking every advantage now that they can. You saw Foster, who's kind of moving a little bit to the left, getting into the mirrors of Siegel, looking for an opportunity to get around him, and really tight there.
Yeah, Foster almost on the gearbox of Siegel, the American versus the Brit. As both living now, though, in California. Louis is relocated to Los Angeles, going to school out there. So he'll be in the U.S. throughout the season, and he is going to be a driver to battle for the championship. I'm telling you this, all the top 4 drivers have a championship intention. Siegel, Foster, Eves, Porto, of course, trying to follow in the footsteps of Kyle Kirkwood and Christian Rasmussen, who won both championships in their first years in the series. This is impressive racing here. 4 laps to go. Look at Foster. He's pulled a bit of a gap as well, Todd, on Braden Eves, which is going to give him a little more ability to attack, not worrying about the guy behind him. Coming down the straightaway now. Doesn't look like Foster's quite close enough as of yet, but they're definitely leaving Eves in the trail. Over a half a second. Foster back to Eves. There goes Foster to the inside into turn number 1. Can he get the job done? Foster to the bottom, not quite, and Eves is back right there.
What a fight in these final 3 laps. Everybody looking for every position. Foster was not able to get around. It looks like Eves has closed up now as they go through 2 and 3.
That's how you wonder whether, that's Eves deep on the inside there as well. Foster on the inside. He's thinking about Eves right now. It may not have been the right opportunity. Maybe a little too early for Foster because he was pulling that gap on Eves. That gap, I think, would have extended a little more. These guys are hanging it out here now. Braden Eves smells blood in the water as he's trying to close up here on Louis Foster. I really believe if Foster held one more lap, there would still be a couple more to go. I think he would have pulled away from Eves, but now Braden right back into it. This is a guy with multiple wins here on the road to Indy.
This is playing into the hands of Nolan Siegel, who you see is pulling out the gap now, and Louis Foster feeling the heat from behind from Braden Eves. Still none of the top 3 podium positions are settled in this one.
Foster trying to stretch away from Eves again and go back on the hunt. You can see he's pulled probably about 4 or 5 lengths. If you watch him coming down into turn number 1 now. Your leader is Nolan Siegel, winner last year in USF 2000 after 3 years in that program. Eves closing up as well. Foster trying to see if he can't reel it in again. Maybe a little too early on that overtaking attempt down into turn number 1. Not able to get the job done, and that brought Braden Eves back into the fight. But I think what we saw yesterday with Miles Rowe trying to go after the race win, fighting with Thomas Nouveau in USF 2000, these guys really want to win in this opening weekend to set the stage, to put your stamp on the series. That was Louis Foster saying, I'm here to go for that race win.
And is Louis Foster also thinking, maybe I don't want to wait until the last lap to make that dash? It's the balance between patience and aggression, understanding that you still have a few laps left, but you can't wait until the last minute.
Yeah, and if I'm able to make this stick, Braden Eves is going to be all over Siegel. I got this thing in the bag. The minute I'm able to get by, Eves is going to be pouncing to try to get second as well. This time you can see the gap there. Foster's developed a little bit more cushion, a little more comfort. Now you can put the focus fully on Siegel. Last time by, Foster was quicker by about 1/10 of a second. White flag flying though, final lap. Foster's not close enough right now. If they end this way, Foster will be the only driver with 2 podiums, as we saw Green and Ahmed out of the race. Green actually back into 11th, coming back 3 laps down, but this is the final circuit here for Indy Pro 2000. As Nolan Siegel looking to get a win here in his debut weekend in Indy Pro 2000. Siegel pushing hard, got a pretty good gap against Foster, but Foster is closing up. I think it's going to be too little too late. The only other opportunity would be a dive bomb down to the inside of turn number 10. But for a driver like Foster, with the other 2 drivers who finished on the podium yesterday finishing outside the top 10, a second place result would be amazing here for Louis, the Brit, trying to work on Siegel. He is not going to be close enough into turn number 10, I believe. They'll work their way down here indeed. Still about 3 car lengths back. Able to clear Braden Eves, but not quite able to get the job done. And again, it took a couple of years for Nolan Siegel to get that first USF 2000 win. He only has to wait to race number 2 in Indy Pro. We got rookies winning race 1. We got a rookie winning race 2. Out of California, the winner here in Florida, Nolan Siegel. Twin checkers for Siegel, the D-Force Racing driver. 7/10 of a second win over Louis Foster. What a race. Braden Eves holding on for that 3rd position. Kiko Porto finishing 6th yesterday, 4th today. Consistency is going to put him nicely into the point fight. But I'll tell you, Nolan Siegel challenged twice on restarts. Had built a bit of a lead, challenged late in the race as well by Louis Foster, trying to make a move down into turn number 1. This is one of those races that you can really cherish. You can savor, right? It's not a green to checker. I pulled out from pole. Nobody challenged me. This is I was challenged, and I stood up and showed you what I'm worth.
Makes for a better story when you're retelling it years and years and years from now, doesn't it? Yes, everything they threw at me, I held.
The older I get, the faster I was.
Exactly. But congratulations to Nolan Siegel. Terrific run to claim the victory in race number 2 here in Indy Pro 2000 to kick off our Saturday. And Louis Foster, that's a very nice opening weekend as well as you start now to think about the bigger picture in the championship. You have 2 podium finishes in your opening round. That really sets you on the trajectory towards that title.
Hey, listen, and again, this is the thing. Louis Foster came into this weekend having never raced on a street circuit before. He should have been behind the 8 ball against all the other drivers he was fighting against, but I think what Foster showed you is his, number 1, maturity, and number 1 is the ability to adapt to a new situation, right? Coming into a track like this one here at St. Petersburg, the different visuals, a new race car as well. Louis Foster most definitely putting his stamp on a potential run for the championship by the time we get to Portland on Labor Day weekend. Nolan Siegel, though, what a race win for this young Californian. Like I said, 3 years in the USF 2000 program before he was able to get that first victory. He does it here in race number 2 for Indy Pro 2000. A couple of rookies getting those race wins. Siegel with the victory. Foster coming home in second spot. Louis Foster for Exclusive Autosport. Nolan Siegel, of course, for D-Force Racing. Margin of victory just over 0.7 of a second. Braden Eves finished fourth yesterday, third today. A pretty solid two-event performance for Braden Eves as he returns to the team of Jay Howard. Eves in the number 4, the Ohio pilot, finishing in third. Kiko Porto, as I said, sixth yesterday, fourth today. So Kiko Porto in fourth spot. Wyatt Prokachik leveraging, Todd, that strategy to put fresh tires on yesterday, move himself significantly up the order to the outside of the front row, and it pays off. He ends up with the top 5.
Take that. It comes up as we look at the rundown of the top 10. Wyatt Prokachik with the top 5. Jack William Miller, who didn't have serious problems after running over that wing of Inam Ahmed, which was very good. He comes home with a 6th place finish. Yuvan Sundaramurthy is 7th. Jordan Missig, Matt Round-Garrido, and Reese Gold rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, Reese Gold, of course, as we know, had that contact with Salvador de Alba early, so for him to be able to come back and get some points up there into 10th, not the weekend I'm sure Reese would have wanted. 7th yesterday, 10th today. I think he would have liked to have had a better result. Nolan Siegel, though, a strong run. This is it. Nolan Siegel out of the car. Team owner David Martinez there as well. The D-Force crew thrilled to have another win here and to put on their resume. Louis Foster rolling in to say hello. There's Nolan Siegel, though. Fantastic. That's Michael Duncalf as well, the team owner of Exclusive Autosport. But this is big for D-Force Racing. They took a year off from this program. Weren't able to put together a deal yesterday. Ended up winning the championship in USF 2000 with Kiko Porto, and they're off to a fantastic start right now. Nolan Siegel is going to be thrilled with this victory.
Interesting that you mentioned it took him a while to win in USF 2000, and maybe coming in first year to Indy Pro, he's not feeling that same pressure that he was after a couple of years in USF 2000. Drivers want to win every time they get in the car, but without feeling that pressure on your shoulders to produce right away, maybe that makes you a little bit quicker.
And again, Nolan was part of that group that came in that year at 14 years of age. Just 14. Like, I talked to Nolan and his dad yesterday, and that first year they were running with Newman Walks Racing, everything was just happening. There was so much that was happening for Nolan. And here's a kid that we've seen grow. You know, this is in his 4th year of the program. He's 17 years of age now, and really just the opportunity to continue to develop. But you jump into a program like this, having done 3 years in USF 2000, you're a much more mature driver. These drivers, every year, they mature year on year. They come back, you don't know who they are. They're 4 inches taller and whatever it may be. But this is huge for Nolan Siegel.
The same at 4 years into a program and still only 17 years. We forget that sometimes, that drivers start that young, and now to have the success at 2 levels of the road to Indy at 17 is big for Nolan Siegel.
That's exactly it. Siegel with the win. Foster 2nd. Eves 3rd. Porto 4th. Wyatt Prokachik capping off the top 5. All right, I'll head down to Victory Lane right now, looking for what should be a very, very fun celebration.
Congratulations to...
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged trucks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cap dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
To present Braden with his trophy, our guests from Anderson Interior Contracting, Mike Fox. Thank you, Mike. Braden on the podium for the first time here in 2022. Finishing in second, put some pressure on late in the race. Back-to-back podiums for this driver on his debut here in the U.S. for Exclusive Autosport, Louis Foster. To present Louis with his second trophy of the weekend, Summer Wilson will come and join us. Great to have our guests here today from Anderson Interior Contracting. One more position on the podium. We saw this driver get his first victory in USF 2000 last year. Didn't take long to get it done here at Indy Pro. The winner today for D-Force Racing, Nolan Siegel. Stay down here with me, Nolan. Congratulations. We first talked on the podium for your win last year. This one was one of those ones that you're going to remember because it wasn't easy. There was a couple of yellow flags. You had to have some restarts. Just give me your thoughts on winning here early.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, second race in Indy Pro 2000, I can't complain. It was not an easy race. I had a good gap to second for the first part of the race, and then there were a couple yellows that closed it up and made it difficult, but really happy to come away with a win.
Overall, how was the racetrack? It always changes. You know, it's a living being throughout the weekend here. A lot more rubber going down from IndyCar. Were you surprised at all by the rubber?
The track changed a lot. It feels different, but the team did a great job keeping in all conditions. So we had a good balance all weekend, and they made it easy for me.
As a rookie coming in, how big is it to win here so early in the season?
It's a huge confidence booster going into the rest of the season. Just building on that progress and momentum will be huge into the next weekend and all year.
Who do you want to thank today?
I want to thank D-Force Racing, David and Ernesto, my parents, my family, and my sponsors, Race for RP, Santa Cruz Bicycles, Aero Paint Technologies, and Town Ford.
Well done. Get up on top of the podium. My winner today, folks, Nolan Siegel. Challenged aggressively by Louis Foster late in that run. And let's bring up the trophy for the race winner. Again, one of our guests, Stephen Anderson, helping me out here today, the VP of OPS, coming up here to be part of the action. Stephen, thank you so much. And feel free to hop up there with him for a photo if you'd like. There you go. Get on top of the podium. Nolan Siegel. Again, I always say, folks, when you're here on the podium here, you never know which one of these drivers is going to make it to the NTT IndyCar Series. So many of our Indy Pro drivers have transitioned through. This is where we develop the future of IndyCar. And this is a talented podium of race car drivers here indeed. Nolan Siegel getting his first Indy Pro 2000 victory, as I had said. Great run as well for Louis Foster. And Braden Eves finishing up that podium Our only Road to Indy action of the day. Will be back tomorrow, 10:45, scheduled start time for USF 2000. These young drivers, though, so impressive. A couple of Americans and a Brit on the podium here. That was a fantastic race to kick things off here for today's action. Drivers will head back up on top of the podium. We got some of our guests coming up for some shots here as well. And those of you who tuned in on Road to Indy TV, we're thrilled to have you with us. Glad you were able to stick around. We had some technical difficulties to start the day off yesterday, but things have been dialed in here as we've gone into the weekend. Once again, we've seen this a lot throughout this weekend. 3 different teams here on the podium as well. D-Force with the win, Exclusive Autosport. Another podium finish here with Louis Foster. And, of course, Shea Howard Driver Development onto the podium with Braden Eves, the driver out of Ohio. So much parity in this program, and we talked about it actually quite a bit throughout the race yesterday of how many potential winners we could get here in this Indy Pro 2000 category. There's just simply so much talent in this class, so much experienced drivers, of course, coming up from USF 2000, drivers coming back for another year, racers coming over from European programs like we had with Louis Foster. We still got the champagne to fly here, folks. Don't take off on us, drivers. The champagne will come in. And we will cap things off here for Indy Pro 2000. So, folks, champagne flying. Guys, let it rip. The victors today. Nolan Siegel with the victory. Fantastic run for Louis Foster in second. Braden Eves in third. But the driver standing on top of the podium and spraying that champagne is Nolan Siegel. Those of you joining us on Road to Indy TV, come back tomorrow morning, 10:15 scheduled start time for the pre-show ahead of a 10:45 green flag. Thank you so much for joining us, folks, here on Road to Indy TV, live from the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.
It's higher.